Hello, corporate badasses. All right, I'm coming on here live to talk about salary negotiation. I have to talk about it because so many of the women inside of my executive ahead of time group coaching program, the program where I set you up not only for your next promotion, but to get you to be successful once you actually get that promotion, are negotiating salaries for new opportunities. And I have so much to say on this subject that I just wanted to come on here live and present all of my thoughts and questions about this and really just kind of lay it all out there for you about how I think about salary negotiation. So a little bit about me. My name is Stacy Mayer. I'm the best-selling author of Promotions Made Easy, a step-by-step guide to the executive suite. I'm also the host of Maximize Your Career with Stacy Mayer, a podcast with, I guess we're on episode number 130, that gives you the processes that I teach on these lives, on these trainings, and inside of executive ahead of time to set yourself up for your next promotion, but in a way that's also true to yourself. So, we're here to create more corporate badasses in the world. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is to step outside of our comfort zone and negotiate our salaries. Now, the first thing that I want you to know as I'm sharing with you today is that I always, always, always believe in negotiating, right? I think first and foremost, if you set yourself up, that negotiation is just a given whenever you're offered a new opportunity, and that it's not a dirty word. It's just something that you do whenever you're offered a new opportunity, then you're going to be more likely to actually do it, right? So that's the first thing that I want you to really remember today. Now, the other thing that keeps coming up for a lot of women is once they get into executive ahead of time, and inside of the program, I have a course called Interview Mastery, which teaches you how to up level your interview skills so that you're not interviewing at the job that you currently are, but like 2 levels above. Right? Even if that's not the opportunity that you're applying for, you're communicating like an executive leader out of the gate. And what the response that they're getting is like really, really good, right? They're getting opportunities. They're getting multiple opportunities from many different companies. They're getting told that they're the top candidate. They're getting pushed to having conversations with the CEO. And I think for a lot of women, this is such a shock to our system that we're given all of these opportunities that we're almost spending so much time in the glory of it, in the gratitude of it, in the amazement of the fact that we're being given all of these opportunities, that we lose ourselves a little bit and we forget to negotiate. So the first thing that I want you to remember, well, actually the first thing was always negotiate. The second thing I want you to remember is that you are a corporate badass, right? You always were. And when somebody writes to me or reaches out to me and they're like in amazement that they're being given all of these opportunities, the first words out of my mouth are, of course you are. Of course, because that person on the receiving end finally sees you as the person that you always knew you were, right? And some simple shifts to our way of communicating. And when we start interviewing at the level that I teach, right? When we start interviewing at that executive level versus the job that we currently have, people do take notice, right? There was a situation that I fell prey to. Gosh, this must have been like a year and a half ago. And I had never gotten on a sales conversation before where the person started just telling me how amazing I was right at the beginning of the conversation. Like, your podcast has helped me so much. I love everything about you. You're so incredible, like all of this stuff. And I remember being shocked in a good way, right? I was just like, whoa, and I was like giddy and I was like, oh my gosh, this amazing thing happened. And I remember I was telling my husband afterwards, I was like, this is so cool. I got on the sales conversation and the person just told me all of these amazing things about myself. And my husband asked, did they buy the program? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was just so excited that they loved me so much. And he's like, so you didn't close the program? And I was like, well, I mean, maybe they might end up buying the program. I don't know. I don't know. I was just so excited about it. Right. And there is room for that. And I want you to be excited and I want you to be grateful. But the problem with this is that it makes you literally forget yourself, right? And you forget to do the work that you were actually interviewing to do in the first place, right? So when we get so caught up in the amazement of the fact that people are offering us multiple opportunities and you know, we're even in the room to negotiate at a vice president or senior vice president or C-suite level, we forget our executive leadership that got us there. And so part of the executive leadership that got you to this place is being able to negotiate, to being able to not get swept up in all of that amazement. Inside of executive ahead of time, we have lots of hashtags. Hashtag show me the money, hashtag no kudos, thank you. And one of them is the idea that we are normalizing having good things happen to us. We are normalizing having good things happen to us. And this is so important because we can't always be in amazement that we're given so many opportunities. So once you take yourself out of the amazement, definitely gratitude. And actually, I learned this lesson pretty quickly. So my husband said to me, you know, did you close the sale? I was like, not necessarily. And I think this person did end up buying later. But the lesson was learned in that moment that I lost myself. And so now what I do is I am so humble and so grateful. Like every single compliment that I receive, every single one of you that reaches out to me and says that my book got you promoted, listening to my podcast got you promoted, I take that in. I absorb that and I am so freaking grateful for that. I will never take it for granted, the support and the fact that what I'm teaching you works. I will never take that for granted and I take that in. But I'm also normalizing having good things happen to me so that I can then look at the person on the receiving end. So there was a woman who actually inspired this live today, and she reached out to me asking the question, how do I resign from my current role? Right? So how do I gracefully leave my current job? And my question was for her, wait, so does that mean you have a new opportunity? And if so, why don't we answer the better question, which is how do I negotiate this new opportunity? Right? And she was like, oh yeah, you're right. You know, I mean, like with my other job, I just have to quit, right? Like essentially you're leaving. Like that's it. That's it. That's the coaching. Just leave, right? Be kind, right? Keep the relationships you want to keep, but really just leave. And the better question is, how can I negotiate that next opportunity for myself? How can I really put myself into a place to succeed? Right. And so then she proceeded to share with me how amazing this new opportunity is, that she's the top candidate, that she's been able to get in front of the CEO, the SVPs, the executive team, right? They're so excited to have her. They haven't made her a formal offer yet, but she's anticipating that's about to happen. Right. So all of that stuff is amazing. It's so, so important and so, so good. And she can be grateful for that. And she can negotiate her salary. So if you're going by what I've talked about today, that always negotiate, right? Then how we're going to negotiate is we're going to stay normal. That's it. We're going to ask a question. We're not going to all of a sudden become a robot and negotiate our salary. So we've had these amazing executive level interviews. We've been interviewing 2 levels up like I teach, right? And then when it comes to salary negotiation, you're like, all right, well, I expect $50,000, right? Like, or whatever that is, 50,000 more, right? And then we kind of turn into this robot or somebody else. No, stay as the woman that you were throughout this entire conversation and ask a question. So you're just going to say to them, is this negotiable, right? Is this set? Is the salary, can we have a conversation about the salary, right? Like that's it. You're just asking for permission to have a conversation about the salary. You're not saying that you don't like it. You're not saying it's not enough money. You're just opening the door for negotiation. And then that other person is going to respond to you with an answer, which is no. You know, we can't negotiate, right? We already gave you the highest possible offer that we could. And then your answer is going to be like, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thanks for going to bat for me. I really, really appreciate that, right? You're amazing. I'm so looking forward to this opportunity. And let's say I show up as the magnificent woman that you're expecting me to show up for. When can we negotiate my salary, right? Like once I get into the role, when will I be up for promotion? That's still normal, right? It's like, it's a conversation. You're just asking. And then they'll say something like, oh, well, probably like, why don't you get in the role? And then at 6 months, we can reevaluate. Great, done. You have that information. Instead of what you would do normally, because you're so grateful and you're so excited for the opportunity, that you would just say, thank you. Oh, this is so great. Right. And then you see when 6 months rolls around, then you start questioning. You say, wow, I wish I was up for a promotion, right? I wish I could negotiate now, right? Oh, wow. Once I got in here, I realized that my 3 direct reports actually make more money than I do. So your company wants you to be successful in that current role. So you are going to negotiate. Now, there are lots of ways that you can negotiate once you get that question answered. So let's say they actually say, yes, it is negotiable. Then you sort of ask in what areas, right? Is it the base comp that's negotiable? Is it the bonus structure? Like what is it, the sign-on bonus? What areas are negotiable? What is the standard, right? Like things like that. You're just asking questions. And then you could also say something like, I was hoping for something more like, you know, and throw a number out there if you're ready to do that. But even just engaging in this conversation is already going to set you up 5 steps ahead of everybody else, right? So be willing to negotiate. Don't let your gratitude and emotions get the best of you. Speak normally, just ask the question, throw it back at them, let them tell you what the process is, right? What is available to you, where the wiggle room is. And then last but not least, I really want to hit this home. Negotiating your salary does not mean that you're committing to the role long term, right? So I had a woman who negotiated an additional $150,000 to her salary, successfully negotiated to her total comp, right? Successfully negotiated an additional 150K to her total comp. 6 months later, left the role, right? You might be like, what? I don't want to do that, right? But what I'm saying is that it's available to you. She didn't want to leave the role after 6 months either. Of course not. She was in it for the long run, right? She wanted to be there forever. But it doesn't mean that you're stuck. You can still leave if it's not a great fit, if it doesn't work for you, right? If it doesn't work for them, you are not, by negotiating your salary, you're not signing your life away, unless, of course, you are, right? Like sometimes at the executive or C-suite level, you have to commit to 3 years, and you know that's another story. But that's also okay, because if you're going to commit to 3 years, you better be negotiating high. Right? Are you guys with me? If you're listening to this, please comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. Have you had success in negotiating in the past? Anything that I'm saying here resonating with you? And tell all of your friends, tag them in this training, because we need more corporate badasses in the executive suite. And you, my friend, you listening to this can help them get there, can help yourself get there. And we want to set you up to be long-term successful. So we're going to make more money all along the way. And I invite you to join me inside of Executive Ahead of Time. This is literally the only program for powerhouse corporate women to set them up not only to get promoted, but to be successful once you get to that executive suite. Because when you start acting like the executive ahead of time, you have built those relationships. You have understood the communications required at the executive level. So you're not going into it blind. You are actually going to have a voice at the table once you get there. And over again, we are proving this to be true. We have an amazing community of corporate badasses. Go to executiveaheadoftime.com and learn more about this program. DM me to learn more about this program. I respond to all of my messages myself because I really want to connect with you, and I really want to make sure that you're set up to be successful for the next 20 years of your career. All right, my friends, negotiate, 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 and I'll see you later. Bye.